phone home. I know exactly what you're thinking when you see me on that bike, because that's exactly what I think about, because that bike is fucking dreadful. I had to push so hard on it. I got it on Facebook Market a while ago for my last prep, and the first day I used it, I was like, what even is this thing? It was supposed to be made for, like, obviously people have high blood pressure, so the revolutions per minute, or cycles per minute, sorry, is quite slow, so you have to really push hard. And obviously when you're in like 3 weeks out, your legs are feeling heavy. I cannot turn that dial up too intensely because it's just going to blow my legs up, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I'm going to look properly shredded afterwards, but yeah, so I have to kind of pedal really, really fast, and then I literally feel like I'm going to take off. And it's also a super, super, super loud bike, like squeaking all over the shop. So yeah, I'll definitely be getting a new bike soon. But welcome back to the channel, and today is a very, very good day, as always. It is another refeed day, but slightly different to the last one. We're not running as much carbohydrates, and that's for good reason. So last vlog, I ran about 320 off the top of my head, grams of carbs, so that was more of like a trial refeed. Today we are running a soft refeed. Now, the reason why it's soft and not a full proper, like, guns blazing, all the cereal, all the bagels, all the good shit, is because we're only trying to slow down my rate of loss. So after my last refeed day, my weight dropped about a kilo, which was what we intended to happen, but we didn't expect it to be as much as that. So at this stage where I'm 3 weeks out, losing about a kilo a week is quite fast. So what we're going to be doing is running this refeed to try and slow down my rate of loss. So yesterday my weight was 60 kilos, and today it's got up by 0.3, so 60.3. Now, I think that's probably down to the fact that my dinner last night was fucking banging, and I'll show you that later. And I think it's probably just a little bit of bloatingness from adding in a bit of kale. I haven't had kale in a while, and I did it, just chucked it in the oven so to crisp it up and stuff. So it's probably something my body generally isn't used to at the moment. So I will be on the cautious side of eating that tonight when I have dinner. But my God, like yesterday, when you have a refeed day, it's weird. It's like you are having all the stuff that you've not been having for a while. So like bagels, cereals, all the really good carbohydrates, cream of rice, which I normally have oats instead of cream of rice, and you're ravenous. So when I had my dinner last night, I could have eaten the whole tub. And that was 4 meals split between me and my girlfriend. So that's how hungry I was yesterday. So that's a good sign that the refeed was in a good spot. So today I'm going to be taking you all of my food. It will be kind of a shorter vlog today, mainly because I had no time to film any B-roll whatsoever this week, which is not great. Just been in a mad rush. Had a few clients to set up, programs to write for my new clients, adjustments to make for my new clients, which I'll be taking you through later. Let me just swap my hands over, which I'll be taking you through later. So I've got a new client, James, who will be training at 3 different places. One with me in person, one at his home gym, which he's got very limited kit, and one at his work gym, which when I looked at a video was like one of the best work gyms I've ever seen. He works in a police station. They had a Life Fitness laying down hack squat, which I've never used before, and I'm kind of excited to see how he gets on with that. Lots of Life Fitness, like chest supported rows, dumbbells. They had a seated leg curl, which most gyms now is a rarity because they favor lying leg curls for some reason, and a leg extension joined onto that as well. So plenty of variety in his programs. And normally what I tend to do with this is we try to accommodate each kind of strength of the muscle. So the short range, the mid range, and the lengthen range across 3 sessions. So it gives them a really good taste of like the different kinds of contractions, because a short range contraction is different to a long range contraction. It feels slightly different. So we place the long range stuff at the start of the week because that's going to cause the most muscle damage. And then the short range stuff is at the end of the week, so you can recover from it, ready for a session on Monday. So I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because I'm bringing you along on my journey to stage. I'm 3 weeks out. Way down, just slow on the way up. That's it. Try not to pull too low, keep that chest up. Okay, so you have to drag them down from the elbows. There, okay. 2 more then, okay? Week, and welcome to your video walkthrough of your training program. Now I know obviously we've gone through one session already, your home workout, but I have made some really frequent changes to the program already after now obviously getting your video of your work gym. Work gym was actually really, really good. There's a lot of kit in there compared to other work gyms I've looked at. Normally they have just a lot of cardio stuff and like a couple of dumbbells, but the fact you've got like a hack squat machine in there, you've got a chest press, a lat pull down, a cable machine, dumbbells that go very, very heavy. There's a lot of room for progress there, and it would be a shame not to be using that. So we're going to go through now the structure of your program and how each session looks and how you can track your sessions in the gym, okay? But also how to get the most out of it, because that's the most important. Go on, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good, Everest, perfect. Oh, yes. Busy morning today. So as you seen earlier, I trained John on his second round of doing lat pull downs. Tends to go a little bit too quick, so we wanted to really slow it down. Work on getting the shoulders to press, elbow to hip. That's how you contract your lats, not just by pulling it towards you and kind of going like this motion. You're gonna kind of pull down like that, basically, in that narrow arm path. That's what we're working with John. Then it was into filming a training video for James. Now I always do this with all my clients, is film a video breaking down their training program. Everything in terms of their sets, their reps, why we're doing certain exercises that lead into other exercises, explaining the notes, how to track their lifts, where to access everything, and just troubleshooting stuff. There's no stone left unturned. So they know exactly what they need to do every time we go into the gym, where everything is in the gym, that sort of stuff. So obviously James sent me over his video of his work gym, which is really, really handy, and I can then start putting together exercises. So for example, he is going to be strapped for time. So we're doing 2 leg exercises back to back on the same machine. So he's got a leg extension that can change into a hamstring curl. So in a hamstring curl first, leg extension, lat pull down, bicep curls on the back of the lat pull down. Then we're doing a cable fly into cross cable extensions. Should take him 30 minutes, which just shows that you don't need to have a lot of time to train. You can literally do a session in 30 minutes if you have to. You know, bring the dumbbells over to a leg extension, you can do bicep curls next to a leg extension, especially if you're training like a busy gym or a busy work gym where the space is really confined. It just enables you to get an efficient workout in, keep the rest period short, makes it feel a bit more intense. And if you have more time, then you could do them separately and rest a bit longer and maybe lift a bit more load. So it's very person dependent. And then I trained Mike for his last session of this week. He absolutely smashed his half marathon on the weekend. I'm so fucking proud of him. He did 2 hours and 17 minutes for his run, which was amazing. For his first ever marathon, we've now sat down since yesterday and mapped out the next one. So we're doing one in September and potentially another one in October, but we're gonna go a little bit more aggressive with his fat loss to try and strip off as much as we can before then. So when it comes to his run, he's lighter on his feet, he can run a bit quicker, as well as incorporating some more long distance runs to help build up his endurance, but also work on his aerobic capacity still by improving that, by improving this through interval training and even some lactic threshold training, which is very, very tough. He hasn't done that yet. So that's something that we're gonna be building up to. But first meal of the day is going down, as always, a shit ton of salad and an omelette with salsa. Now, if you've not tried salsa on an omelette before, you need to get on it because it's so low calorie. 30 grams is 10 calories, whereas 30 grams of ketchup is like 20 calories or something like that, especially if you buy like the non-sugar one, which I do because I'm cheapskate, can't be asked to spend more money on the less sugar stuff. But I have swapped out my ham today for chicken, mainly because I ran out and Aldi, again, don't have half the stock anymore. I always start the morning with high protein and high fat, or just high protein. I find that in the morning, my concentration is just on doing my client work in terms of sessions, in terms of admin, programs, that sort of stuff. That if I have any carbohydrates, I always say this, like I have an energy crash by 12. So if I have no carbs, slow digesting energy from the fats, it's gonna keep my energy consistent. And also being on a refeed day, I'm gonna wanna try and maximize this around my training, and obviously deadlifts is today, which as you know is always a tough session with me at the moment with being in a deficit. So I wanna time as much as those carbs around that window as possible. So I've got my, later on I've got my cream of rice still, and I've got my post-workout cereal, and then dinner tonight, which I'll show you, is amazing. And obviously utilizing this. So I probably will actually have a second can of Monster later, mainly because I want to make sure that I'm adequately caffeinated for deadlifts, because last week, again, tough session. Now, when it comes to your caffeine consumption in a diet, do not rely on it. Use it as an aid to suppress your hunger, but also to give you that bit of extra boost in your training sessions. Like in a gaining phase, we want to limit your caffeine before 12 or 2 p.m. Depends on you, how you sleep, that sort of thing, because it's going to then affect your sleep going into the following day, because caffeine has a half-life of every 6.5 hours. So if you're having a can of Monster at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, you're not going to be able to sleep until at least 12 o'clock, because what happens is that caffeine will block your adenosine receptors, and that adenosine is that sleep pressure it builds up across the day. Okay, so when, let's say it starts from 8, it starts building up. When it gets to your usual time where you feel like your eyes are getting heavy, you need to kind of reset it straight away. So if you're having caffeine at 4, and it's, let's say there's 160 milligrams of caffeine in this, by the time you get to 10:30, you've got half of that left. So you're still going to feel alert. You're not going to get to sleep enough or quick enough or naturally enough. And then that's then going to mean you're going to wake up the next day feeling really, really groggy, okay? So when you do have caffeine, it blocks those receptors, and then the adenosine doesn't go to those receptors until all that caffeine's been broken down. So, where let's say it builds up and it needs to be reset at 11, it's now continually to keep on building, and you're going to go into sleep deprivation. And then when you then it finally resets and you have that caffeine crash, it doesn't completely reset. You've got like a little bit left. So you're already starting on the next day sleep deprived. So bear that in mind with your caffeine consumption, because it does really make a difference to your overall energy for that following day, and use it as an aid in your diets to help with hunger suppression, but also that bit of extra kick like pre-workout and things like that. In a gaining phase, I'd still try and keep your caffeine to a minimum, because again, it can suppress your appetite. And we want to make sure you get all that food in a gaining phase to adequately fuel your sessions, but also recovery for building muscle. Gonna tuck into this now. Got some learning to do for my transformation course that I'm doing at the moment. Learning a bit more about the theoretical side of getting transformations with clients, as that's my speciality. And then it's then into pre-workout, cream of rice, which I've mixed up this today, which I'm buzzing to take you through. And then into my deadlifts, which I won't show you too much of because I've already done it on the vlogs. So it's just a full day of eating, refeed edition. Into meal 2 of the day, and as you know, it's always my cream of rice, but on a refeed day, or my oats. Oh, look at that absolute beauty. Didn't get my second Monsters today. I decided against it because I forgot that I had a coffee this morning. So it's into some top quality H2O. And if you've not watched Waterboy, who even are you? Come on, you need to watch it. It's such a class film. Like that, Happy Gilmore, Benchwarmers. I know it's not an Adam Sandler film, but those, and Dodgeball as well. Dodgeball's an absolute classic film. Those sorts of eras of films, nothing really compares to it. American Pie to a certain extent as well. But yes, cream of rice is on the cards for pre-workout today for my refeed. Now I have changed up a little bit. So I've gone the same cream of rice as yesterday and my last refeed, which was apple strudel or apple crumble. I'll get them mixed up. And I've gone for the usual frozen berries and the prunes. But what I've done this time is I've gone for 2 types of whey. I forgot that I had some Kinder Bueno Perform Whey, so the white chocolate hazelnut and the chocolatella. So I've kind of gone like yin and yang, white with the white chocolate and then milk chocolate with the chocolatella. So this is gonna taste unbelievable and I cannot wait to tuck into this. So I always try to get this in at least 2 hours before. So I'm gonna have this now, have some water, maybe some electrolytes as well, crack on a little bit more work. So I didn't actually get any of my education done. So I had to do some administrational stuff, which is all the boring shit, but it needed to get done. But I've scheduled it in for tomorrow, which is a good thing about planning in your diary. Like I plan my meals in all the time. So when you're doing refeeds and things like that, make sure you're planning when you're eating, because like I said last vlog, you could eat super early before you've even actually hit that hunger spike. Like when I finished with Mike's session and done my training onboarding for James, by that point I was starving. So having my omelette then was a perfect time, tied me over until now where I'm ready to go for pre-training. If you have it too early, you're just going to end up feeling even more hungry later. So make sure you time your meals to schedule them in so you know roughly when you're going to be eating.
and roughly when you're doing your steps, roughly when you're doing your cardio, around everything else. And if something crops up, you can then move it to the next day to allow for that to get done and get ticked off for the week. And it makes your life a little bit easier to manage, less stressful, and you can get everything ticked off and feel like you've accomplished something for the day. So like I said, I'm going to tuck into this now, wait an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then it's straight into deadlifts and post-workout Cocoa Pops as always. That is next level. Unbelievable. So many flavors going on, so many flavors. Oh, this is why it's the best meal of the day. We are back for post-workout after a heavy deadlift session, and I tell you what, I feel absolutely zonked. Deadlifts are one of those exercises that just really fuck me over every time, especially from lifting from the floor, or for me, lifting off plates, because I struggle with getting down towards the floor and holding that spinal position, which if you noticed in the last vlog, I wasn't wearing a belt. Now I'm leaner, that weight obviously is going to feel heavier. So I borrowed one of the belts from the gym here. The one I have at home is one of those leverage belts. So it feels like a fucking tourniquet when you're doing deadlifts, and you're going down and it's like crushing your false rib or your bottom rib. So I have to use a thinner belt. So I borrowed one from work, and it definitely helped. But I always struggle with bracing and deadlifting. That's why I've put the core stuff at the start to help with it. But also just generally I struggle with bracing when you're like freaking bent over. It's for some reason really difficult, whereas squats, I find it really easy. So today, like, I end up dropping 1 rep on my working weight, because obviously I'm doing a sub max set, and I went a bit more conservative on the sub max, which definitely helped out with the working weight. So definitely we'll be trying to hold that number now for the next 3 weeks, essentially, without dropping a weight. But if it has to, I have to. Like, I'm 59 kilos now, which is approaching new territory for me. My face is feeling tighter, my energy's getting lower, so things are going to get more challenging. So for post-workout, same as yesterday, which if you'd seen on my Instagram, is 100 grams of Cocoa Pops with 45 grams of Chocolatella Perform Whey and 300 mils of almond milk, straight down the hatch. One of my favorite post-workouts, both on refeed days and in a gaining phase. Like, it's one of my favorite things to have on a gaining phase. As you would have heard from my last full day of eating, I would go through like a box of this every 2 days pretty much. So it's just an easy way to get very quick digesting carbs in. The other way you could do it is going for your like hot food, rice, chicken with fish, or rice, chicken, fish. Rice, fish, vegetables, that sort of stuff. Another like bowl of cream of rice, so you could have oats before, cream of rice after. You just want something that's it's gonna be taken up really quickly. Now post-workout, you want to tend to favor a lot more carbs post-workout, in my opinion, mainly because you have literally depleted yourself. And when you're lean and getting leaner, it's going to be really, really important to get those in as quick as possible so you can get your energy back, especially if you feel like as zonked as I am at the moment post-training. If you're having like some really slow digesting carbs, let's say granola or a bowl of oats, for example, it's going to take a while for that to break down. And then when it comes to it, you're going to be flat with energy for a while until that energy starts breaking down and starts absorbing into your muscles and storing in your muscles. So get something in nice and quick. Now, if you're looking at types of whey proteins to have pre and post workout, isolates are a little bit more refined in protein, lower in carbs, and whey protein is a little bit higher in carbs and a little bit less in protein. So I would say isolate before, because you want to get that MPS spike at the start, but also having maybe a little bit more whey post-workout, so you are getting a bit extra carbs in there. But equally, it's those extra 1% stuff. It's not really going to matter at all. You can have isolate before and after. I generally just stick with whey protein because it's cheap, cheerful, and it's really accessible. I find isolates a bit overpriced sometimes for what it's worth. And casein is another one, but no one really uses it anymore. Like, it was kind of a craze back in the day and no one really used it, like casein put in the evening, which is a way more slow digesting protein source. But yeah, just stick with your whey protein. It's way easier. So I'm going to tuck into this. I've got some extra bit of administrational work to do this evening. Training to my last couple of clients of the day, and then it's straight home for dinner, which I'm very, very excited to show you because it took me about 15 minutes to make it last night for myself and my girlfriend. And when I had it, I literally could have probably devoured my portion and her portion. There was 4 meals involved in it. It was that good, that good. And I want to show you, in a lot of my food videos that although I am a bodybuilder and I'm identifying myself as a bodybuilder now, seems I'm competing, I can be, you don't have to eat like one. You can eat, a little bit more flavoursome food. Bodybuilders do eat cereal. I eat cream of rice, I eat oats. But when it comes to dinner, one of my highest values for myself is it has to incorporate my girlfriend. If I was single, sure, I would quite happily have like stir fries every single evening, the same meals every single day. But because I'm in a relationship and I value our time together in the evenings and chatting around dinner and things like that, it's got to incorporate her. So when I plan my food out, that's the first thing I always plan out. Dinner first, and then the meals that I do keep the same, I just change the quantities to allow for that evening meal to come in. Buzzing to get tucked into this because it is getting soggy now. Like, I don't know about you, but soggy Cocoa Pops are not the one. I like a little bit of crunch. Like, when you get a Weetabix and you put the milk on it, like I like it the moment the milk hits the Weetabix for like a couple of seconds, and then I start like crunching it down. I like a little bit of crunch to it. Soggy cereal is not the one. Like, this is why like Cookie Crisp for me, like as much as that's a really good cereal, it just goes soggy really quickly. The milk's great, don't get me wrong, but the cereal just goes really, really soggy. So gonna eat this with my prep spoon, which has come everywhere with me so far. I got it from Disneyland Paris. It just makes food last longer. Psychologically, it makes it last longer anyway. But realistically, what it actually does, I just eat quicker because I can get smaller mouthfuls in quicker, which is not ideal. But, it's come everywhere with me, so it's going to come with me on prep everywhere else for the next 3 weeks and probably beyond that, because why the hell not? Oh, that smells bloody banging. This is honestly one of my favourite dinners I've made so far. So we've got sweet potato, 2 sausages, a bit of chicken, kale, onion and apple. All made in a tray bake, 4 meals in 50 minutes. Absolutely banging. And there's a decent amount of carbs in it as well. So I know I said in the last refeed day to spread your carbs out. Exactly what I've done there. Sweet potato. Your food does not have to be boring. As much as I live like a bodybuilder and I just microwave this in Tupperware, if you're at work, grab a plate, chuck it on a plate. You don't have to eat out of Tupperware. But this is going to go down like an absolute treat. Did have to add a bit of extra chicken in it because it was only like 19 grams of protein. But extra protein is protein, right? And it's, yeah, I literally, like I said yesterday, I could have eaten all 4 portions if I hadn't stopped myself. That's how banging this meal is. So definitely recommend tray bakes as a way of getting some extra meal prep in. Even if you're not on a refeed day, you're on a normal calorie deficit day, low calories, chuck in some vegetables in there, season them. So we've got smoked paprika, rosemary, thyme, cinnamon, and also a bit of black pepper on there as well, and a beef stock cube. Season it. you'll find it so much more easier to stick to your food. So I'm gonna tuck into this now. So I hope you enjoyed today's short little vlog about what I'm eating in a day on a refeed. Soft refeed, mind, not as much as last time, but it's been an absolute blast. And I'm literally gonna go straight to bed after this because I am absolutely zonked. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because again, I'm gonna be showing more videos on my prep as I'm drawing closer to stage in 3 weeks' time.